This is the MoogerFooger analog delay pedal. Most of you are familiar with echo effects and specifically probably analog delays. They use an old technology called a bucket brigade chip, which kind of reads the sound into memory and then repeats it again and again when needed by writing it again and again. We've got a reason for using those, though, instead of a normal hi-fi echo, and that most echoes off a canyon or a basketball court are a little bit degraded in fidelity. There's something very musical about that. The repeat is not exactly the same sound you put in, but a bit degraded. And certainly that's one of the artifacts of the old bucket brigade chips that were used in these pedals. Let's look at it and show you what it does in a very simple synth sound. We'll start with just one echo here and single echo. We can change the delay time here. I can add some repeats as well, feeding back into itself. And notice that each repeat decays a bit in tone. So that's one of the features we like to use. As I put more and more feedback on, the sound decays away, muddier and darker. There's also a switch over on this side, part of the feedback circuit. As it repeats through itself, you can filter out the low end. So they put a high pass filter on, which is right here. And you can allow all the low end through on each repeat, cut out some of the low end, attenuate and attenuate until you cut out all the bass frequencies, leaving mid-range and above. Just really thins out the sound. You probably heard before, as it was decaying, mostly the high end went away. But if you really want a sound that decays away, we cut out the low end as well too. Here's what that does. So again, it's getting very thin and degraded. Let's add some more repeats and a shorter time. Classic feedback trick. And of course, if you modulate the playback speed as it's going through, the delay time is your playback speed here in this case, then you'll actually bend the notes, the pitch up or down as you move the knob. Classic thing to do. You may have noticed underneath here too, we've got a short time and a long time. I was using the longer decay time on the echo. A general setting from here to here will be longer there, a little over a second when it's on the full maximum. But the sound is quite dark in that way. If I change it to short, it only has less than half a second at the maximum, but the sound is brighter and clearer. If you want a good quality echo, but still degraded a bit, this would work. These are great spacey sounds to use. 808 drum machine type sound with a classic analog delay added would be a good thing of the time. It's adding some little triplets going on here, great sounds. As I add the feedback, let's add some of that high pass filter, take out some of the deep lows. Again, that's the great sound quality. The degraded sound is actually an improvement in some ways. That's why we like the analog nature of these old bucket brigade delays. On this track, I'm going to use the mix control at the bottom to show you the dry sound first. Here's the dry bass sound. It's a synth track. And then I've set up a very short delay time with no feedback just to do a quick doubling. Then we've got an actual live cello. And the cello is here on a dry signal. This is the original track. And of course, the classic dark slap echo is great for any mix. So let's play that track. I've duplicated it here, and I've put a delay onto that. So the duplicate track will be panned to the left, dry signal in the middle, and we get the kind of room effect because of the decay of the analog delay. Again, the quality of the sound is not quite as clear, not quite as good as the original. It's a little bit attenuated and a little bit dark and muddy, which makes it sound great in the mix. Let's do the clavinet. Clavinet is here. It also has an analog delay added. For a basic slap echo. And again, just always useful for fattening a sound without putting reverb and things all over it. Just a quick, dark slap will give you that sound of three-dimensionality without eating up the whole mix. Here's the dry clavinet. And a little bit of slap added. But because that track has a dark slap, it doesn't really ruin the rhythm of the original clavinet, but adds that fullness from the echo. Next we have a keyboard track. This is a simple synth kind of piano part, and what I like doing with it is putting a longer delay time on, roughly timed out on the music, but really dark and really mellow in the background. So you have the original tones and original attacks, but just kind of fills in the space with something to keep those holes not so empty. Let's listen to what it does for this track. So we've got quite a few repeats going, but it's that dark attenuated sound that makes it so musical. This is a violin track. We're going to start with no delay on it at all, and then we're going to add delay for that kind of haunted room sound on here. Nice little trail at the end. It definitely warms up the thing. We've got a strange solo sound, but definitely benefits from the effect on here. Start with it dry again. Once again, it warms up that sound a bit, takes a bit of the edge off it, still lets it be crazy, but it adds that kind of three-dimensional effect we get. This is a bass synth track, which I duplicated. Panned one left, that's the dry track. On the right-hand side, we put the analog delay mix all the way up. We're using the short delay time because it is better fidelity, and we're using the shortest delay time. So it's a really, really tight echo. Slightly degraded though as it's running through the analog delay, and that's panned to the right. So it gives us a nice stereo effect on what would otherwise be a mono signal. Again, very useful, very musical. The analog delay is one of those effects that you can use on almost anything in different ways. People may not even notice it's on if you have a very tight sound like that or some kind of very short slap back behind a melodic instrument. But I really think the analog delay is a very useful one.